Don't call it a comeback. I mean, wait. They came back? No. They did? There's no way. Apparently they did. Go Bruins, baby.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well. Welcome to this edition of Locked On UCLA. It's Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer reacting to the stunning come-from-behind victory for UCLA, down 15 in the second half, down big at the break against ASU on the road, one of the teams near the top of the Pac-12 Conference, a team that has struggled to win close games versus the team that has won close games consistently. And it's the Bruins, surprisingly on the road, when they were just about to find a way to lose, get the job done, and after getting a 50-point butt whooping a week ago, all of a sudden, Mick Cronin, who was quoted in his last presser just before this Arizona road trip, is saying, hey, wait a minute. What does it take? Is it one game that's a turnaround? Mick Cronin answered the question and said, it's multiple games. Well, you stopped the bleeding with the win against Washington. You put up 70 points. You go on the road, you get a big road win, down 15, win a close game against a team that's been very good in close games. And even though there was the recipe for UCLA disaster, right? Guys who had been making free throws are getting to the free throw line, couple of clanks, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, Arizona State hits a miracle last-minute three-point shot. That has been the recipe for all these close losses, right? All these things you've been seeing in every close UCLA loss, and it's the Bruins that come home, bring the hammer, and show most of us what they're made of. I think this two-game response shows the resolve and the character of this team. This team could still go have a losing record. This team could still go and not have the most exciting year, but to come back after that just disastrous showing against Utah on the road, to not only just win a game, but equally look as out of it as they were starting to look against Arizona State in this game, and then to come back, helped out by 3 to 4 technical fouls called. Adem Bona is the heart and soul, and then everybody coming in to chip in for a comeback dub. That was spectacular for a UCLA 68-66 win, improving to 8-10 overall, 3-4 in Pac-12 play, and all of a sudden they might be one win away, albeit against Arizona on the road, from being 500 at Pac-12 play. Then you got Arizona State 10-7, 4-2 in Pac-12 play. Man, oh man, a chippy game, technical fouls, close calls, missed foul calls, physical play all night long, where bodies were flying, guys were getting in the face, no calls and everything. And the Bruins came out, the young, feisty team went out and came back to beat the Sun Devils. Stefanovic got to the free throw line. That's not something he's been consistently doing in this game. If he's scoring 15 or more points, if Lazar Stefanovic, which he has the ability to score double figures consistently, if he's scoring double figures, if he's scoring 15 or more, UCLA's probably not going to lose that game unless he's putting in garbage time buckets, which this was not in these last two games. I believe 15 against Washington, 18 against ASU to lead all UCLA scorers. If Stefanovic is putting in 15 or more, I don't see a world where UCLA is losing that game unless he took 21 shots to do so. And this time, he did not. 6 boards, some clutch rebounds, made some plays, got to the line, made some free throws, even though that technical free throw followed by the Sebastian Mack miss and then eventually a triple really would have just blown your mind. Got it done. Sebastian Mack, 11 points, I believe, the final 8 minutes of the game. Good finishes at the rim, got to the free throw line, despite not converting at the greatest percentage. His 11-point outburst at the end showcased how explosive he can be, getting to the rim and maybe regaining that confidence and the ability to go downhill, get fouled, get to the line, stop the game, and get UCLA chipping in a little closer like they did against Marquette, against Gonzaga, even a little bit against Chaminade. If he can do those things more consistently, then you might see a bit more. And then you have to talk about the heart and soul. The heart and soul is Adem Bona, right? 30 minutes, fouls out, 9 points, 7 blocks, a career high. 6 rebounds, 5 assists from your center, who comes in and is playing his heart out, got a technical, everything going crazy. 1 steal, that is the definition of playing your heart and soul out in 30 minutes. And imagine he wasn't even on the floor at the end of the game. Man, that is the heart and soul of your team there. If you're Adem Bona, who comes in and just does everything. 7 blocks. I know he smacked one of the ASU guys in the face accidentally early in a dunk attempt. They didn't call it. A little bit nutty, and the Bruins will survive. Brandon Williams comes off the bench 20 minutes and scores 13 points when they needed him to do so, in 5 of 6 shooting, 5 boards. Look at that. Big Will with a 3. He needs a 3 off the bench. Who gave the Bruins the lead on a 12-0 run? McClendon. Where did the Bruins come together in this game? Largely, it was the composure in a rowdy road environment to come together and get the win. They only turned it over 11 times. Cronin talked about one of his keys was not turning it over. Early in the game, they looked like they would struggle. It looked like they didn't have anything going for them. And here, the Bruins were able to limit their turnovers, 11, compared to Arizona State only having 6 turnovers. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a game, UCLA in the Mick Cronin era, on the road, down 15 points, a team that prides itself on defense. This year's team, who seemingly can't shoot, they only turn over the opposition 6 times. When is UCLA ever going to win that game? When are they ever going to win that game? Never. You're not going to see that, except for tonight. Except in this game, where they forced only 6 turnovers, -5 in the turnover category. Even the Bruins didn't turn over that much. It's because Adem Bona was so dominant blocking shots. The Bruins had a couple of steals when they needed it, including near the last minute with a Sebastian Mack layup to go up by a few points there, and just held off enough. Even though they tried to cough up the ball in the final seconds to give ASU the ball back down 1, which could have been, that would have been the most UCLA thing to do this year, to blow that game. And they're trying to rewrite the narrative. Maybe line dancing needs to get put on hold. Whatever it is. That was just a performance. These last couple of games have been something you need to be proud of, right? Even the men of Westwood NAL Collective was posting, hey, Jaime Acas Jr. saying donate. UCLA needs the support so they can grow this program and continue to go in the future. And for this year's team, it's growing and growing. There was no Adai getting time tonight. It was Vide getting a moment, turning it over. He's yanked. He played and rode the majority of his starters. Finally, McClendon got a lot of run time since he's getting over the cough Cronin was talking about. And then Williams came and got some big-time buckets. They didn't turn it over. UCLA went to the line 23 times. Mixture between good whistles, weird whistles, and just ill-advised, mistimed, misguided outbursts from Arizona State. Sometimes either miss-swipe or just all the technical fouls. The emotions that UCLA was able to contain within themselves to come back. And hey, they didn't shoot too bad from 3. 7 of 19 is not the greatest shooting percentage if you really think about it. But for UCLA to shoot 36% on the road, huge. Absolutely huge. The Bruins shot 54% in the second half. Went to the free throw line 21 times. Only shot 2 free throws in the first half. 21 free throws attempted in the second half for 16 made free throws. Arizona State, they shot better in the second half. They had a better percentage shooting than they did in the first half. They made a better percentage of threes in the second half. So it's not like UCLA really turned it on. They had a long burst where they went for it, in large in part got to the line, stopped the clock. Every cliche, every analyst is going to tell you, you go to the free throw line, you stop the clock, you chip in, a couple of empty possessions, and that's how the Bruins did it. You mix in 5 missed free throws in the second half. How many of those would Arizona State love to have back in a 2-point game, and even in a chance where Bona swiped and hit the guy in the face and didn't call a foul, right? They had, I believe, 3 to 4 technical fouls against Arizona State, only 1 against Bona, and the Bruins had 16 second chance points. What does Arizona State have? 6. That's plus 10. All the hustle points, all the extra boards, loose balls in the baseline, when it came down to it, the Bruins won those. That is what Mick Cronin is asking for. What did he yell at Will McClendon for in the first half when Arizona State threw a break of a three-point shot off the side of the backboard, it was rebounded and laid it up at the end of the first half when it seemed like the Sun Devils had everything going for them, even getting a layup near the buzzer to go up 13 at the break. Everything was going their way. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. They're getting back in it. Wait, it's 49-43. Now there's a review. And then a big triple, and the Bruins are up. And you're like, how are they winning this game? How is this team winning this game without forcing turnovers left and right? How are they doing this? How is Arizona State shooting better in the second half than they were in the first and losing this game? It's a weird game to look at numbers-wise, and all the things that would start to spiral out of control were seemingly there, right? The mental aspect. How do you grow and win this game as a team? And this is without hearing Mick Cronin speak. This is just the sheer emotion of this victory. That's impressive. That is very impressive. And I've been trying so hard to see and wait for this performance. And this team didn't look like they'd had it in them. It didn't look like they would have, after what they did it less than a week ago, what they look like to now. Imagine, right? Cronin ripped them to shreds, said his team needed him. They go next game and lose by 50, basically, and then come home, beat a scrappy Washington team, beat an equally scrappy Sun Devil team on the road. And now you're going to go into a rowdy environment in McKale where you can either shock more folks or get more confidence playing against one of the better teams in the country who's slated to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament in the Arizona Wildcats, who have been slightly susceptible this year to giving up points in the Pac-12 Conference play with their couple of losses. So here we are. Man, that's a big time. That is UCLA scoring 45 in the second half of this. That's nuts. That is just the work the coaching staff has put in, the resolve and the heart. Because Mick Cronin never lost this locker room. It just seemed like this team was just so down on themselves that nothing could happen to really change the emotion. All it takes is a win, though. A good, solid 40-minute effort against Washington. And then there's going to be games like this one where you get down 10, 12, 15 points. Largely because you're not shooting that well, or the other team's hitting dagger threes with hands in their face like Arizona State was in the first half. You can look at Adam Miller, who had a couple of threes. Frankie Collins, who went 4 of 9. Jemiah Neal, 3 of 6 from downtown. 4 of their starting 5. Arizona State rides their starting 5 really, really hard. They eventually wore down. All 5 of the starting 5 players for ASU played almost 30 or more minutes, just about every single one of them. UCLA, they rode their players a little bit, mostly because they needed to and also due to foul trouble. Just a little bit of contribution from Brandon Williams and Will McClendon. The bench points, the 22 bench points to Arizona State's 6, that is the difference in this game. You think about a 15-point deficit, where did the points come from? Brandon Williams and Will McClendon hitting clutch buckets down the stretch or keeping them in early, while Arizona State faded down the stretch a little bit because their starters couldn't hold on to that lead at home. So the ability for Mick Cronin to play his depth, which has not been as deep as we would have liked this year, not turn it over, get to the free throw line, physical, emotional game, and the youngsters came through on the road. That is a very telling sign for where these guys are going for the rest of the year. It makes me excited. Maybe they're not going to win a lot of games in a row. Maybe there's just this 2-game stretch, but that still gives you hope for the Pac-12 tournament and just to see how this team develops. That's an exciting signature moment so far. And you can go make another one happen against Arizona in a midday game on a Saturday against the Wildcats on national television. Because this one was a sneaky one on the Pac-12 network on a Wednesday night, early, who knows? What? UCLA's down. It's easy to turn it off. No. It stayed on the television. And all of a sudden, they got the job done despite every single way they tried to blow it, which is impressive. And they still got the job done. Big time dub. I'm excited, and I can't wait to talk more about it. UCLA women's basketball has a lot of exciting games coming up this week, and we still got to wait a couple more days. And then football's got some big recruits filling out the defensive side of the roster. We're going to talk more about that in later Locked On UCLA episodes, but right now, we savor the victory. We savor this moment after what was last week. That was not pretty. That was not pretty. But the Bruins got the job done, and this was exciting. Heart-wrenching, thrilling, exciting victory. So So let's enjoy it because we got to cut an extra day off before the Arizona game, and we'll see what happens, right? All next on Locked On UCLA. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that'll take my business to the next level in 2024? Well, LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with, which is why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free, because it's not just another job board. Nah. It's a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, making it the best place to hire. Small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Okay. Tell me you put some money on this game. Maybe you're looking, you're like, am I going to hedge a bet? Maybe you're picking Arizona State, favorite at home, obviously, right? Maybe you're sitting there, you're like, hey, look at this live in-game money right now. Do I dare UCLA minus whatever you could have gotten in the live in-game odds? Dare pull the trigger on that? That's why you should join FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 money line bet. Maybe you're a little crazy and we're like, the Bruins on the road got a hefty payout. Who knows? That's why you got to check out FanDuel and get some fun in on the action when you watch your UCLA men's team, right? Because this would have been a fun one to get in on the action with a live same game parlay, bro. Get it in. Excitement. FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Okay. Let's let the excitement for just a moment of the UCLA win wear off. We do have sports. We love to talk about them, escape the crazy realities of real life. But let's talk about preparing for real life, right? What happens after all the adrenaline wears off of a big win, like UCLA against Arizona State? We're in the middle of a pretty bad flu season in nearly a decade, which can be a very scary time when it comes to trying to get antibiotics. But we'll be okay because of Jace Medical. The Jace case provided by Jace Medical is a pack of 5 different antibiotics that treat a long list of bacterial infections, including UTIs, respiratory infections, and more, because that stuff can happen to any of us. Visit jacemedical.com, that's JASCmedical.com, to complete your physician encounter. It's reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the cost. Don't burn your wallet. Burn a hole in your wallet. Just get your antibiotics. It's never been more important to be prepared than for today, right now, with Jace Medical, JASCmedical.com, using the code Locked On. Again, that's Locked On for $20 off your order. Check them out. Oh, goodness gracious me, man. Goodness gracious me. That was something. That was unbelievable. Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer with you guys. I was stunned. I was sitting there next to somebody and like, oh, are you giving up on the game? I'm like, no, it's just halftime. But I'm going to turn it on and suffer through those next 20 minutes. And you're like, wait a minute. They're creeping closer. They do this. Wait, they took the lead. They're trying to grab my heart again. They're trying to rip it. I can feel it pulling out. I can feel my heart being ripped. I'm like, don't do it again. I can't handle another one. It already happened once. I don't want to see it again. It's just so funny that when you saw the graphic, the mirror images, but flipped, the inverse of one another, where Arizona State have been so good in close games. Mick Cronin quoted it. They've won quite a few close games in Pac-12 play. And the Bruins have done anything but. Blew the Oregon game. They've blown the Nova game teams in the tournament. Blew the Ohio State game. Obviously, the Marquette game speaks for itself. The Gonzaga game speaks for themselves. Even though Gonzaga's not even supposed to be in the tournament, that's how close UCLA could be. Win those games, you're on the edge looking to get on the bubble. Right now, UCLA is climbing from rock bottom. Rock bottom after this performance. They're getting out of there, right? And to even be competitive the rest of the way, continue to make a better percentage of threes. Use the energy and emotion that Adem Bona brings in, night out basis. If Stefanovic is scoring close to 15 points a game and doing that, it doesn't matter what he does. If it's going in the lane, hitting a runner, hitting a couple of threes, making free throws, and then everything in between, next thing you know, UCLA's got offense that just isn't really been provided there over time. Let's take a look at this Arizona State schedule real quick. They beat Stanford by 3 on the road. They beat Cal by 2 on the road. They beat Colorado by 3 at home. So those are just 3 wins since the end of last year, the beginning of the 2024 calendar year, that UCLA couldn't get in this whole season. Arizona State's done that. They have a 2-point win against SMU on a neutral site, at home. They got a 2-point win against UMass Lowell. So it's a weird Arizona State team that's 10-7 right now. It's a weird team, but the Bruins got it done against a team that knew how to close, especially at home. But it's important to build that character, build that moxie, because a different beast is coming. A completely different beast is next. Going to the McKale Center, the final time these two teams will play as conference rivals. Both coaches, Tommy Lloyd, Mick Cronin, have already spoken about wanting, the interest is there to play in the future. Home and home, whether they do a neutral court, it would be better if it's a home and home. For now, there's no intended schedule. There is an intent to schedule, but there's no scheduling finalized at the moment between UCLA and Arizona for non-conference games yet. So for now, this is UCLA's last desert trip. And I bet you they're not going back to Tempe. I'm not sure. I mean, they'll probably go to Tempe. They'll need a close non-conference game here and there after freezing in the winter in Big Ten country. But everybody's going to want to see them play Arizona. Like they're going to want to see them play this matinee game against Caleb Love. The Bruins owe Caleb Love a big L. They need to get some revenge after a couple of years ago in the Sweet 16 when he just went off. Bruins need a big dub against the Wildcats. They owe them for the Pac-12 Tournament Championship games last couple of times. It would be sweet. Beyond just the Arizona State game, it would have been sweet to go in there and get a dub. Now all of a sudden to get with the momentum rolling on your side, can the Bruins come out and score more points? We'll talk more about that in the next Locked On UCLA episode. Where's the momentum going? Is there a way they can shock everybody again with another win? Is there a way UCLA women, they can go beat the number 3 team in the country, beat an extremely tough preseason favor in the Pac-12 Utah in back-to-back games on the road after playing a top 6 USC team against Juju Watkins, who is probably the freshman of the year. And then you've got the UCLA football team. They got a boom. And then all of a sudden, that dude who we didn't know who it was signed in the same day. And then in the next thing, they're having the toughest schedule. I can talk about the defense hopefully having something, but them having the toughest schedule, I might disagree with a recent article. You're going to want to stay and like, comment, subscribe, review, and listen to the next Locked On UCLA episode because it's going to be jam-packed with some really good stuff. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. You've been listening to Locked On UCLA. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA, fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Go Bruins.